have to excuse my workbench. I usually try to keep it pretty clean, but it's been a long day and I'm ready to be done, so I'm not going to mess with that. But anyway, this is my last application of barge on the bottom before I put the sole on, and I just wanted to emphasize what my main focus is on this coat is to put a nice even coat on, but focus on the edges. That's where, if they come apart, that's where they'll come apart first. So you want to make sure that you put plenty of cement on the sole, and that you go all the way to the edge and be thorough. There's no reason not to be. Just keep hitting it. I go maybe a couple different directions if I can, and that's even better, because that's your first line of defense. Now, I haven't made enough of these to where I've had soles falling off of them, but that type of wear and tear is sure to come, and I'm just curious to see in the long run at what point that happens, or what it takes to see a failure. There we have it. I've already applied the cement to the sole material. I basically just laid this down on the soling material and traced it in chalk, because chalk's the only thing I could get to show up on that vibrant cherry rubber. And this was a little too close to where I was standing, so I got some leather dust on it, but it's not going to be a problem. But there we have it. I'll let this dry, and then I'll push this together. I've already got the other one put together and drying off. So getting very close to the end. For tonight, I'm going to press this on, clamp it while it's drying, and then tomorrow cut off the excess, grind to the profile again, and then burnish, and then apply my final finishes, and call it good. Okay, so I've given these a few minutes to set up, and I'm going to, as carefully as I can, start on one end and press them forward, and try to get it put on as evenly as possible. I have touched these together before and tried to correct a little bit, and it is not easy to do, so I would not recommend trying to remove them unless you're prepared to do some serious cleanup. So there you have it. I need to work on having a clamping system of some kind. You really want to watch the edges. You don't want to leave a gap unattended, because now's the time to get it right so it can set up and do what it needs to do as far as the glue. So I'll throw some clamps on these and call it a night. Here's the other one that's already clamped up, in case you wanted to kind of see. I don't have enough clamps to do two of these at the same time, but that's what I decided to do on the first one. But anyway, there it is for tonight. Okay, so the flops have sat overnight. I've had them clamped onto the sole, and getting very close to the end. I'm very excited. I'm going to cut as close to the profile as I can before taking it back to my grinder, my 10-inch wheel, and then just removing as much material as I can with the machine. Now, I've never done this before, never cut on this material, so oh wow, cuts really nice. Always recommend using sharp blades. Makes a humongous difference. You don't want a bunch of drag, especially on a glued joint with no sewing, which is what the soles are. Eventually I might try to find some ways to sew all the way through the sole, but right now I'm not sure how I would do that because of the need to recess the stitching. Because if you just sewed straight through, you'd be walking on the stitches. You'd have to groove them somehow. And I don't think you can use a leather groover to groove through rubber. But if you could, that would be pretty sweet. Durability would be much higher. I suppose if I used a different material than rubber, that would be an option. Anyway, I'll keep trimming this down and get it as flush as I can. I think you'll get the point rather than watching me do every nick. But I want to get it as close to flush as I can without risking cutting into the side and messing up my the sides of the profile. So we'll cut that down, see how that looks. So I've got them both trimmed down, and that Vibram pattern's really trippy, pretty neat. Adds a really interesting element. But anyway, I've got it trimmed down as close as I can get it with my knife, and I'm just going to take it to the grinder and see how it reacts. I've never ground this stuff before, but I imagine if it grinds as nicely as it cuts, it won't be a big deal at all. So on my previous video, I used crepe rubber, which you can get in sheets from Candy, and it's pretty much the same process as what you just saw me do with the Vibram rubber, but it's just these crepe sheets that are like, I don't know how thick, 2mm maybe, 3mm, and the Vibram is 4, so it's slightly thicker. But the crepe rubber, this is what Clark's uses on their some of their boots and different shoes, their leather shoes, and they actually layer it quite a bit. It looks like they use like maybe 2 or 3 layers for the general sole, and then they put like 4 layers for the heel. So that's something I might look into. But the crepe rubber that I've been finding is much more expensive. For $40 you can barely get 2 pairs of shoes out of it, whereas for the Vibram you can spend $40 and get 3 pairs easily, and you don't have the issues with dye bleeding over on the edges of this stuff. And I don't know, I have mixed feelings. I'm not totally ready to part from it yet. I'm going to keep offering it, but as far as workability, that's my only complaint. It looks good and it works really well functionally, but it's just kind of a pain and kind of expensive. So anyway, I'm going to get set up at the grinder and we'll go from there. Okay, so I've burnished these. I ended up using my hand burnisher for most of it because my bits are not balanced very well, and these straight ones aren't balanced very well. So that's a warning. If you buy bits off eBay, the straight long ones just don't hold up very well for high speed, but these grooved ones are fine. Anyway, so I've wiped them down. I used first I used water until I got it slick. Then I came back over it with gum trag, and then I hand burnished it again. And then once the gum trag dried in and I burnished it fully, I rubbed it with beeswax all the way around, and then quickly burnished it again, and that's completes the burnishing. Then I wiped everything down with a damp cloth to get all the dust and everything off of it. And then I'm going to apply some satin sheen to the whole thing. Satin sheen leaves a pretty nice finish. And I'm almost out of this bottle, so I'm getting kind of to the bottom. But it doesn't have any shine to it at all, and I like that on my flip-flops, as opposed to like Resolene or Super Sheen that can be pretty glossy. So it really is a matter of taste. And so after the satin sheen has some time to dry, I'm going to go back and use my Aussie leather conditioner on these, and that should complete everything. So almost there. Do a little bit of hand buffing. Fibings leather conditioner, Aussie. I just use a soft, clean, old sock or something soft, and get the excess conditioner off and buff it. You just follow the directions for whatever conditioner you use. And this is pretty much the end of the road. It's been a heck of a journey as always, but I've always trying to trim down my process and make things better and learn from mistakes along the way, and these were no different. But I'm excited to try out these new soles and see how they go. And I appreciate you guys watching with me. Get out there in your garage or your workshop and see what you can come up with. You don't need every little tool that I used to get the job done. You just need to make a plan for what you can do with what you have, and your results will be what they are. But there's no reason to do it exactly like I am. You just kind of see what works for you. My plan involved tools I had and methods I used, and that's what they are. So, but there it is. Got some dust on those, but there they are. Thanks for watching.